Hi there. In this short video, I want to show us how to get started with Azure DevOps. I will be working with ASP.NET Core and Azure DevOps and a Microsoft account in this scenario. Enjoy. The first thing I do is to go to dev.azure.com, that is dev.azure.com, and then I wait for that to load. Once that loads up, I click on Start Free, and then I get to sign in with Microsoft registered account. This could be a personal Microsoft account or an O365 account. That's an organizational account registered with Azure AD. And then I prompt me to sign in, so I select a new account that I've not used before because I want to set up a new organization. I enter my credentials, then I enter my password. After that, uh, it directs me to go ahead and finish setting up my organization. That's in Azure DevOps, and then I click on continue. Then it goes for a little bit of time there. And then I'm all set up to go. So the first thing I will do is create my first project. So I'll give it a name. I can decide either to make it a public repository or private repository. I'll go for private in this scenario. I give it a name, and then I create the project. That takes another couple of seconds, and then my project is ready to go. Then I'm all set. I can see my overview dashboard here. I can see the members on this project. I can see everybody. And then I can see all that. I have my Azure board, which is basically where I can set up my tasks and features and work items for my team members. So you can see that work items, you can see sprints. So just trying to load that up. And then repos. Repos is basically where I have my files. That's my source codes. I can see, I can add a new repository, and I click on manage repositories. So that loads up for a little bit. Just skip that for now. So pipelines is where I get to build my projects. So I get to configure, so I can set up the builds, and then I can automate the deployment of the project, probably to a virtual machine or to an app service somewhere in Azure or AWS or whichever platform you choose to deploy it to. So the build pipeline basically compiles your code that you have in your repository and then publishes the artifact. All right. So I just want to see what is going on there. You can see I've not created any release, so it will be blank for now to ask me to create a new release pipeline if I get to do once that page loads up. Okay, as you can see, there's nothing there. Just scan through the rest. And then the test plans is where I get to see all the test projects, all the test cases I've written for my projects. So basically, if I have like 1,000 tests or 200 tests, I get to see them here to see which ones failed, which ones passed. Because this is a new project, I will see nothing there for now. And then artifacts are the packages I try to import, probably from a private source, or I have a special configuration that I use for my projects. I can have them here in artifacts. So next thing for me to do now is to do a little bit of setting. I need to change my organization name, although it's not recommended you do this, but I like to give it the name I like. So I go to my organization settings, and then I set the name. It will give me a warning that am I sure I want to do this, but yes, I'm sure I want to do that. So I want to change it to Win First Cup. So I click on edit, then I change the name to what I want. Then yeah, done. So that take another couple of seconds. Then I'm ready to go with my new organization. Yes. So as you can see, ready and set to go. I go back to my organization and then I can see my projects right there. So I click on the projects I'm on right now. That's WinForceCorp Solutions. And then I want to import my repository here. But first, before I do that, I need to add members to this project. For example, I work on a team of developers. So I get to add members to my team. Then I type in the names of people in my directory. I select as many names as I want. Uh, so you can see I can put as many names. If they are not in my directory, to send them an invitation email. So I get to enter that. Oops. Let me try that again. All right. Almost there, almost there. And then I click OK. Then it asks them to my team. If they are not a member of my directory already, it sends them an invitation email. Okay. It even sends these guys a confirmation that they've been added to a new project. All right. So you can see it added them right in there. So the first thing I want to show us is the boards feature of Azure DevOps. So what board basically does for you is to be able to set work items, be able to set storage, features, bugs, epics, and all of that, just as you do in a normal agile software development environment. Okay. So as you can see, I can add a new work item. It could be a bug, it could be a task, it could be a story, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I want to add a new feature. I'll just give it a name, and then I'll assign it to a member of my team. So I'll just assign that to myself with another account. Okay, then I do a search because I've not done that frequently, so it's a little bit buggy there. Okay, I add that guy, then I save. Once that saves, I can now go to my boards. I can select that board. I can create as many boards as I want also. So it's just a Kanban board where I can see stuff. So I can see my board. So this is my storage board, but I want to change it over to features board because that is what I just added. If you have many user stories, you see them line up right in here. But I'll change it to features board. And then I can see the feature I just added. I can add new ones and assign those to individuals on my team. Okay, so I'll just add a few more tasks and then we should be done on this section for now, and then we'll go to build our project. Okay, so I can put just mark tasks if they are done, if they are completed, if they are active there. But I want to change a little bit of settings. I want to mark it as either the task is active or done in each lane. Okay, so I go there, show active and done. Then I just love to do that. And then also there's a feature called swim lanes. So swim lanes basically if you have different repositories, so you have your API project, you have your mobile project, you have your console project, you have stuff like that. So you could split them into swim lanes inside this same one project. So I'll just create the API and the web links. I'll just rename the default one. And then you can see it should split it up. Then I move them to the respective lanes they should be in. Okay. So I'll just add 2 or 3 more and then put them in the lanes and you can see how that pans out. See? Yeah. So basically that's it. So if I go now to my work items, I can see the tasks that are assigned to me by default. And I can filter by the tasks that mention me, but there's none so far, so I'm good. All right. So the next one is to add code to our solution, to our Azure DevOps project. But currently the repository is empty because we've not put anything there. So what I would like to do first is to go and manage repositories. I'll rename this default solution, this default repository to what I like. And then I will just change the name to my project name that I have in Visual Studio already. So a little bit of pointer here. In this project, I use the ASP.NET Core Web API, and then I just put some unit test projects inside it. So I'll get the show us when we get to integrate the code inside now. I just go ahead and rename my repository. Then I call it winforcecorp.webapi. So that's the naming convention I choose to use. All right. So that is good to go. I go back to the repos home. Then I just set that as the default page. And then because the repository is empty, the next page that will show up to me will be that there's no code in my repository. Do I want to? It should give me the Git reference to add those projects, as you can see. So I'll just go up and copy the URL of the Git repository. And then I go into Visual Studio where I have my solution already. You can see my test project, one failed test. So what I want to do is add uh, the origin to my repository. So I'll go settings, repository settings, and then I add one more remote. The default one is GitHub because I have the code already in GitHub, but I want to add VSTS here. But I'll just put in a funny name, paste that. But let me just change the name to VSTS because I really don't like what I have there. VSTS, okay. So I'm good to go. And then I can go ahead and commit my code and push. But no worries, if you want the sample of this code is live on GitHub. All right. So that pushes. But what I like to confirm is that the code is really in VSTS, that's Azure DevOps. So what I'll do is I'll go to my command line and make sure I push it. All right, code is live on GitHub. The next step now is to go up to command line. And then seed into my project. I'll be done with that in a few. Then I want to do a git push. Azure Master. Well, because that repository does not, that remote does not exist. I think I made the name there. I used VSTS. All right. Okay. So let's try that again. All right. So let's try again now. Git push VSTS master. Right. So the code is going up in a bit. It asks me to sign in because it has to verify that I'm the authorized person to push the code there. So I sign in with those credentials I used on Azure DevOps. All right. Then the code is up. So the next thing is to go back to my Azure DevOps portal and refresh that page, and I can see my source code is live. You can see we're good. You can see all my source code. So the next step now is to configure builds for my source code. So if I go to, you can see all the commits for now, all the commits I've made so far. I started this project like a few days ago. So next is to go to pipelines and configure my build. So I click on new. By default, it has a visual designer for us to use and all that. No, the default view. So either GitHub or Azure Repos. So since my code is in Azure Repos, I click on that. I select my project, and then I select the template. So I'm using ASP.NET Core. So I select that ASP.NET Core. Then it just does the auto configuration for me. Then I can save that and run it. Okay, I just put in the comments and then I run. So what that does is gets the agent, the build agent, that's a Visual Studio instance on the cloud, and then builds my gets my source code and builds it. So that normally takes a couple of seconds to minutes depending on how huge your project is. So you can see in the summary view and the task view what is going on in your project. You can see that. Just trying to get my code. And then it's doing a nugget restore. So it's basically just do what you have, what you do on your PC, but in a release configuration here, you probably run debug on your PC on your development machine, but here it does a release build for the solution. All right, so that a couple of more seconds, and then it should be ready to go. Okay, so basically this is the default uh, build configuration that we see in Azure DevOps, but we can decide to have our own custom. Let's say we have custom tests that we wrote and all that, and we don't want to use this default flow. All right. So what will happen is that in the next step we'll configure our own custom build pipeline. Then we can say what we want and how we want it to run. All right. So this just like a couple of more seconds, and then it should be good and good to go in a bit. All right, build is completed. Once you see this green check, and then we are good to go. So in the next video chip, what I'll be doing is configure a custom build pipeline. All right, configure a custom build pipeline, but this test will not show up, I think. As you can see, but the green is good to go. Let me just click that and then forget it. All right, so basically my build is completed. I can see all the logs. I can check that if I love the black window. Next tag that happened, I can see every single event that happened if I need to do reporting on that. You can see that in the software, very fine summary view. All right,